Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello. 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 What is up, family? Hunter Klein here, bringing you this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys, episode number 41. Y'all know the deal. All right, let's address the elephant in the room first. Okay. No, I did not dump my hair into the fountain of youth. I did not find a fountain of youth for my hair. No, I did not snip a few locks from a wandering angel. I found lemon juice, guys. Okay? And I swear to God, people are telling me it's not having an effect. Right? It's not affecting my hair. But I swear to God that it is lightening it. Right? It's making it, it's just an incredible journey I'm on right now, an adventure of hair exploration. All right? And I did some research, and apparently the citric acid in the lemons, right, acts as a natural bleach because it is an oxidizing agent, aka some chemistry no one cares about. Bottom line, when you mix it with the sun, it really lightens things up. Okay, and I've been out in the sun a little more, really fitting into this Arizona mold, and it's having some profound effects on the color of my hair. And I can't get over it, guys. I can't get over it. It's absolutely beautiful. I hope you guys are all doing well. What's going on? Personally, guys, I'm making some huge strides in my social game. All right? I've been working on my social game heavily recently. All right? And by social game, I mean interacting with other humans. All right? Meeting new people. Right? Kind of being a little more outspoken in the real world. Right? Because generally what you see here is not what I'm like in the real world. I'm a little more conservative. Right? I only really express myself when I'm addressed. I don't really go out of my way to really put myself onto people. It feels weird. And I'm starting to realize that one of the things that I did not develop very well during college or my early life, just the years leading up to this point, is I have not developed the ability to approach new people and go out of my way to make friends. That's something I'm not very good at. It feels weird to me. I have this very jaded perspective of it. Right? It feels like I'm trying too hard, and it feels like I'm being too much, and I feel intrusive when I go out of my way to meet people, and I just don't think that's the correct way to look at it. I also, here's another reason I think I'm not very good at it, and I don't mean to make this sound egotistical, and it honestly feels weird to say, but I'm just going to go for it, whatever. It seems that for a majority of my life, I have been the one that generally gets approached, right? The one that people start conversations with and so on, and as a result, I'm terrible at doing, giving back, right? Reversing that process and actually going up to people. Not only am I bad at it, but I have this jaded and awkward perspective toward approaching random people, right? What I just went over, it just feels weird, right? I feel like I'm being intrusive. I feel like I'm trying too hard, and it's just not good, guys. Okay, so we're getting better at it. We're trying to explore all the different wonderful people this world has to offer and so on, guys. Just baseline statement to cover this. I'm just taking the leap, friends, more often. Okay? Plain and simple, and it feels really good. What else, guys? I have also finished. No, I haven't finished. I was supposed to finish, but I was lazy this week. I'm almost finished with my PhD application, which I'm positive will get accepted because it's been accepted before. And I want to talk about why I'm doing this, guys. Because last week I talked about, I'm super passionate about education and questioning, and it's the only right move, and this is the fig for me. Going back to our fig tree story. But I really want to talk about something that's becoming obvious, or the reason I'm making this decision, okay? So we covered before, like I just said, learning and questioning are two of my favorite things to do in the world. That much is obvious from this podcast, right? But in a way, guys, the real reason I'm committing to this, that it's so easy to commit to continuing my education, is because I'm stalling, guys. I am stalling. Okay? And this is why I'm stalling. I'm stalling for that moment. Okay? That moment that I believe without a doubt will happen soon. Now, whether that moment be the podcast growing to a point where I can support myself, all right? Or whether it be a connection I make with the performance director for the Phoenix Suns. I'm stalling for that big moment that I believe will happen. And I feel that if I just fall into the job market right now and start working a standard 9 to 5 that a master's gives you, I could miss out on a big opportunity. Now, this might seem lazy, and you could get critical of this statement, but I say this for a reason. The reason being that graduate school, what I'm doing and what I plan to continue for the next few years, is very flexible. Okay? I decide my hours, I decide when I grade papers, and I decide when it's time to sit down and read research papers. Okay? I have the ability to schedule my life around my podcast and my passions and opportunities that a 9 to 5 could potentially not allow, that a 9 to 5 could potentially make me miss out on, right? I can work, get paid for my PhD work without sacrificing my passions whatsoever. Okay, it's 1:30 p.m. on a Friday and I'm recording this podcast because I chose to. Right? Because I can get my work done this weekend, because I can get my work done tonight at 9 p.m. Okay, because this is the best time for me to record. I feel jazzed. This is where I'm in my prime during the day. If I had to wait till after 5 p.m. after a 9-hour workday to record this, I can't help but feel that the podcast would, be punished for that. All right. So it allows me to prioritize my passions. This field gives me the flexibility that I need to prioritize what I truly want to do, guys. And that is exactly what you're listening to, podcasting. It gives me an insanely flexible lifestyle that allows me to do all the wild stuff I do. All right. It's just 100% the move. While the money's a little we don't need money right now. We need to fine tune our crafts. We need to get better. All right. Simply put, we need to get stronger. We need to get more fit. We need to get more articulate. We need to develop better storytelling. Right. The money can wait. Okay. The money can wait. That's enough about me, guys. Let's talk about the world. And when I say world, more specifically, probably the US, because stuff is nutty right now. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to talk about at the moment. First things first, going off of our social dilemma talk last week, Apple listened to last week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. All right, or they watched the social dilemma, or they knew about these issues beforehand, these technological dangers. But let's just go with let's just say that they listened to the podcast, because that's much more exciting. But bottom line is, one of the next or upcoming iterations of iOS, like one of your next, I don't have an Apple phone, but one of your next Apple phone updates, iOS being their operating system, is going to allow you to sign off on apps tracking you and selling data. Okay, right now, you do not have this option. All right, it's all fair game after you download the app and accept terms of service. You're all ready for data harvest, baby. Like, they just start getting you. They just start recording everything, throwing it into the machine, creating a virtual you, right? Creating a virtual you of what you like, how much time you spend on apps, how much time you spend scrolling. Ooh, what gets him to stop scrolling? When can we give him more ads? All of this is not voluntary right now. But what Apple's doing is they're creating a system in iOS 14. Like I said, I don't have an iPhone. I don't know what you guys are on, 12, 13. In iOS 14, you're going to have the option to say, no, I don't want this. I do not want you to harvest my data. Now, that'll come at a cost of, maybe your ads won't be as applicable, right? Like, after I talk to a friend, I'll say, like, hey, I want a necklace. I'll open up my phone and fucking Instagram will know I want a necklace, and there'll be an ad of a necklace. Like, they listen. Now, that's scary, but it's also advantageous in the way that, because they know exactly who I am and where I'm at and what I'm talking about all the time, they know exactly what I want and they can bring me what I need. So the only downside of this I can really imagine is that, your ads might not be as useful to you, which, maybe you're someone that doesn't use that stuff, and good for you. All right. So what does it mean, guys? Pretty much you can choose whether or not to participate in the world of data collection, right? You can choose the accuracy of your ads, and you can choose whether or not these big tech companies can farm your data and kind of sell it to people. All right. And the reason we bring this up is because it's a huge first step toward a world of ethical technology, giving people the choice to participate rather than forcing them to participate and just literally farming them without their knowledge and without their consent. Okay. And it's for this reason that there's a lot of people, there's examples of lawsuits against these companies, in quotes, them committing crimes against humanity, right? With the amount of power they have, with the stuff they're doing. There are legit lawsuits out there that are trying to sue these companies for crimes against humanity. All right, so some of them are starting to make the necessary changes to really focus more on the ethics behind things, right? Give people the choice, all right? Allow people to give consent, all right? This is kind of like Apple saying, yeah, we know shit's getting wild and we're trying to keep things under control, right? Please don't sue us, so on and so forth, okay? So to all the doomsdayers out there, the negative Nellies, humans are making moves to prevent world destruction by technology, okay? We're not completely screwed, right? This isn't the end of humanity, okay? Chill out. Stop with all the negative talk. We're making the necessary moves, okay? Okay. Now, let's get into this Trump versus Biden, okay? And yes, we're going to take it there. Absolutely. We have to. Now, I don't really want to talk about the politics as much as I want to talk about how odd the dynamics and nature of the debate were. Okay? If you want a political breakdown on which side and which statements mean what and who covered what the best, go watch a political commentator, because that is not me. Okay? There are people that dedicate their lives to that. I am just going to poke fun at how hilarious it is that we decide who our president is. The leader of arguably the most powerful leader in the nation in the world, through two old grown men, acting like two 9-year-old brothers trying to convince their mom that they weren't the one who started the argument. Okay? I have no idea what were the facts and what were truths during the debate, because everything was supposedly not true or fake news. I didn't hear half the debate because very few statements were said without the other side interrupting aggressively. Okay? And we have these two leaders snickering at each other and calling each other clowns for an hour and a half. Like, is anyone else thinking? Hey, maybe we should change things up a bit, okay? Evolve a little bit. I think it's time that we let go of, nah, that's just how we've done things. That's just how things go. That's how we've always done it. Right? I think it's time we let go of that phrase and maybe change the method by which we choose who gets the nuclear codes of the United States, friends. Okay, I don't think this is too much to ask. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. Okay? Does anyone else find this alarming? Okay, that wasn't a debate. That was a battle of wit, a battle of social skills. Who can discredit the other the best, who has the best insults, and who can deflect topics the best. All right? That wasn't a debate between leaders, guys. That was a debate between salesmen. All right? And I think it's majorly the system's fault. All right? I think this is really important here. You get 2 minutes to respond to insanely complex questions, friends. Can you imagine trying to give a complete and thorough response to getting rid of racial inequality in America in 2 minutes? No, you can't, because it's not possible. Okay? No wonder these guys are choosing to tear each other down the entire time. I honestly believe it's a much better debate strategy to just talk shit to the other person compared to giving a half-ass answer because you have zero time to cover the whole issue. 2 minutes is not enough to give a thorough response without holes in it. Okay? It's no wonder that a majority of the debate was spent by both sides trying to discredit and defamate each other. With 2 minutes on the clock, I believe it pays much more to tear down the opposition than it does to build your side up. Because whatever you're going to build on your side with 2 minutes is shit. Right? It's much easier. There is much less risk and so on in just bashing the other person and just making them look like an idiot. All right? And I think we saw this in Trump stuff and from both sides, to be honest with you guys. It's hilariously juvenile. And the fact that we don't have more people saying, hey, this system needs some reform boggles my mind. All right? I just don't understand. Now, there are some changes being made, okay? For example, in the debates going forward, the opposition's mic will be muted during your 2 minutes, so that will help, right? So when he's like, all right, President Trump, you have 2 minutes, Biden can't jump in. Or I should say, when they're like, President Biden, you have 2 minutes, Trump cannot jump in because he did that a lot. His mic will be off. He might even try to yell from the other side of the podium. I wouldn't be surprised. But they are making some changes, right? They know it was shitty. They know the debate was, pretty messy. But I'm talking about a much deeper change, guys. All right? We need more in-depth changes to how we decide our leaders while approaching election day, because this system, what we have now, is not good, guys. Okay? Now, this is easy for me to say, right, from my bedroom, and I don't really have any solutions or answers, but there's got to be people, right? There's got to be intelligent people that are passionate about politics that can step up to the plate and make some reform. There's a whole committee on presidential debates. I wonder if there are talks in those rooms about making this more effective. Okay. The first presidential debate was held in 1960. And 60 years later, we have the exact same shitty system. All right, let's get some big brainers, passionate about politics and ethics, to step up and craft a better platform for us to learn more about our choice of U.S. president, huh? Like, I think that sounds fantastic. I don't think you can shit talk that stance. I don't think there's really a hole there. I think you can agree that what happened in that last debate was a mess, right? And it's so hard to gather information on that and take stances when the answers are so shallow and there's so much. It's not a debate, guys. It's who can say the right thing in the right spot, who can discredit the right time, and it's just this hodgepodge of conversation and social skills, which I just find extremely, extremely interesting. Okay, I'm curious what you guys thought about the debate. I'm not going to give like my opinion on who won and who lost. I'm not the most political person. I agree with some things on one side, and I agree with some things on the other side. Overall, what my opinion, I guess, general observations, I thought Biden did much better than a majority of people thought he was going to do. Okay? He didn't stutter much. He seemed all there for the most part, right? He was articulate and handled Trump's slander well. I was really worried, not because I'm 100% Democratic. I was just worried for him in general that he was just going to fuck it up, that he was going to stutter, he was going to blank out and forget what sentence he was in, because you see all these clips of this guy just absolutely struggling to get through statements and sentences. So I thought he did extremely well. And especially considering that this is, this is Donald Trump's home court. Donald Trump is a comedian who was elected president. Like, he's good socially, whether you like him or not. You cannot deny the fact that he is skilled socially. He knows how to talk. He knows when to say what. Right? We saw it in the debate. Right? As soon as Biden was getting some emotion from the crowd, and he was talking about his son being a successful member of the military, Donald Trump just comes in and smashes it with more slander. Like, he knows when to say certain things. He's not dumb. Okay. But I'm sure based on Biden's performance, the Democrats were really happy, right? I think a lot of people were worried that he was going to, kind of just maybe even die on the podium. Like, people are extremely worried that guy's not in a very healthy state. And on the other side of things, Trump did a good job of he being Trump, right? I think this is where the man thrives. You can't deny it. Like I just said, he's a very socially skilled dude. And yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing when he interrupts, when he throws insults, and so on. All right. The problems associated with having to answer complex questions in 2 minutes is exactly why Trump is the favorite in these debates. All right. Because he he's not in the position he is because he makes crazy statements and he's a really good talker and he brings people together. No, he's in the position he is because he knows how to shit talk, right? He considers himself not a politician and always he's like those damn politicians, right? He's good at taking this 2 minutes and destroying the other side while saying hot topics and the right words and the right phrases that get you excited or get his people excited. Okay? Trump didn't give one solid answer on any question. He was just making funny jokes about Joe Biden and yeah, it's very interesting. He didn't talk about anything, but yet some people would consider that he still won that debate, and that speaks volumes for just the kind of person that Trump is, I believe. Okay? He doesn't need to give great answers or blow people away with statements to please his crowd, right? He just needs to tear down Biden and make him look shitty in game, set, match, right? That's pretty much what his specialty is. We all know that. Everyone's talking about it. But to end, put a pin on the conversation. Who won, guys? Who knows? It was a pissing match, and I guess we'll figure out here in the next upcoming months, right? I guess the election will be a big result of how these debates went. Especially with mail-in ballots, the result of the election will be very delayed. It's just going to be an interesting time, guys. There are a lot of times during the debate, where I was extremely worried about what was going to happen if he doesn't get reelected, because it sounds like this guy is trying to arm a goddamn militia behind him that's going to attack and just break out in riots if it doesn't happen for him. And it sounds like it's the same for the other side, guys. So we just need to stay calm. Okay, we just need to stay calm and hang on for dear life, because things may get interesting based on how this election goes near the end, guys. Okay, it's going to be a very, very interesting time. Speaking of Donald Trump, it is confirmed by health officials that he does, in fact, have COVID. Right? This is not a joke. This is not a scam. Right? He has COVID 100%. He announced self-quarantine October 1st after his test for COVID came back positive. And this is the very interesting part, guys. This astonished me. All right, so we have people doing data studies on this, trying to make sure he's okay. And obviously he's the president, so he's got a lot of people behind him. When we combine data studies in Trump's age, he's 74 years old, his weight, he's considered overweight, and other underlying health risks, officials are saying that he has around a 9 to 12% chance of mortality, guys. Of death. Yes, this is 100% serious. He has a 9 to 12% chance of dying from COVID. Right? Now, they're claiming that the symptoms are mild, but this is very, 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 very interesting. Right? And I don't know enough about politics to know what happens in these cases. But 9 to 12% is more than I'd be willing to throw on the line, guys. He's an old dude who's technically considered obese and has other underlying stuff going on. It's crazy to think that there is as much of a 12% chance that this man dies from this, that the president of the United States dies from this, especially in such a crucial time for the election. Right? This guy's supposed to be touring and getting people on his side, and he just got COVID. Also, consider how much shit this guy talked en masse during the debate. He's like making fun of Joe Biden. He says Joe Biden has the biggest mask you've ever seen, standing like 200 feet from people. And the next week he gets COVID. Right? This makes me, the conspiracy guy in me makes me think like, did a Democrat plant Donald Trump with COVID? Like, is that possible? Is that a world that we live in? Obviously he's not really wearing a mask and not taking it very seriously. So I don't think this is very likely. I think there's like hours and hours of film of him leading up to his test results. They would be like, oh yeah, he could have got COVID there. But it's interesting to think about how good of a political strategy it would be for some type of Democrat or someone on the other side of Donald Trump to plant COVID on this MFer and get him out of the count, right? How good of a strategy is that? But I wish the guy well. Hopefully he doesn't die. That'd be kind of sad. I'm sure a lot of people are hoping that he dies because everything's so polarized these days and people are so aggressive with their political views. Guys, what else? This week, I ran into my first critic. And I don't want to say critic as much as I ran into the first person that reached out to me and said, "You shouldn't be doing this." All right, now let me give you context. This person reached out pretty much saying that they think that what I'm putting out here on this podcast, what I'm putting out into the internet in clips, is not very intelligent, not very responsible, because of job security for the future, and I'm risking hindering opportunities in the future. All right, and I got so triggered. All right, because number one, this person really doesn't even know what podcasting is, right? They don't really truly understand the message behind this. But I think there's a lot to unpack there, and it's too much. I think the main thing that was triggering for this about me was that statement right there, that you should not be expressing yourself like you are. You should not be telling the truth as much as you are, because you could potentially lose out on a job opportunity in the future, is the most sad, depressing statement and perspective I could ever imagine, right? That falls into this topic that we had these last couple weeks. It's like, so you're telling me that in order to keep my future safe, I have to put on a mask and put on a costume and walk around like, no, I don't drink, I'm normal. I don't have vices, I don't have issues. I don't think very deeply about things. I don't overthink. I don't have any health problems. But I have to put on this mask and this costume to protect my future. I think that is the most sad and dry perspective of the world that you could have. Like, it's so terrifying to me, guys. If I I'm going to continue doing this podcast, and I'm going to continue doing this exact thing right here, being a true from like raw self-expression for years and years and years and years. And if I ever miss out on a job opportunity because of this, that is a job, that is a business. Those are business leaders that are people that I don't want to be around, that no one should want to work for, right? If you can't appreciate self-expression, if you can't appreciate honesty, and if your business is so tight-knit and suit and tie that you can't have someone that speaks their mind publicly on the internet, then with all respect, go fuck yourself, friend. Honestly, I would rather live in poverty, or not live in poverty, but I'd rather live like I am now with very little money, but enough to maintain life. I'd rather do this and express myself truly than have hundreds of thousands of dollars, but be walking around in this fucking wooden mold of, this is what you're supposed to be when you're a businessman, right? I can't talk about the world because I'm afraid that I'll lose my job. Like, that is terrible. That is frightening, and that is just sad, guys. So yeah, this person said that you should be more careful of what you put online. And I said, with all due respect, I know exactly what I'm doing. My future is very secure. Never, ever, ever send me a message like this again. Right? I'm very upset about it. I still am upset about it. I don't think, especially someone who's not in the creative space, someone did decide to work a 9-to-5 or go into the mold of society and not express themselves, should ever feel like they can come in and tell someone that's creating art, that's expressing themselves, how to express themselves, right? I think the beautiful thing about things like podcasting or making music or, any type of entertainment, any type of art, is that there's no right way to do it, guys. It's a blank sheet of paper, right? And no matter who you are, there's a crowd out there for you. No matter who you are, I would be willing to bet money that there are 50,000 people in the world, at least, that would enjoy listening to you speak or talk or enjoy your art form, enjoy your paintings or your stand-up or enjoy your talk show. The problem with that is that you don't see that right away because, one, it's hard to find people like that, right? You have to do it for years and years and years to let as many of those 50,000 as you can find you. right? And a lot of people quit before that. So it doesn't seem like you have that many, it doesn't seem like there's like-minded individuals, right? And there's also so many different ways you can do a podcast, right? We saw it with how I started my podcast. I started out with like a very short 5-minute episodes of just doses of science, right? And you guys were like, dude, like, where's the personality, man? Anybody could do this. But my point is, there's so many different, there's not a right way to do podcasting. There's not the best way to do podcasting. There's not a best podcaster in the world, because it is a creative endeavor. Just like you like different music than I do. Right? Just like there's no best type of music, there's no best type of podcast. When it comes to art, there's no best type of self-expression. There's no right type of self-expression. And there is no way that you should be giving people advice on how they do their art. Okay, I think that's my main point here. If you were to ask me, Hunter, I want to start my own podcast, how do you think I should start it? Any advice? I would not have advice for you. My advice would be you. Feel it out. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to do a podcast for 45 minutes? Or do you want to do a podcast for 5 minutes? Or do you want to talk about politics or movies? Or do you want to do like scripted writing? Or do you want to do like off the cuff stuff? Right? Do you want to act? Do you want to have skits in your pod? Like cannot give you advice on your creative endeavor. You have to explore the space yourself. Okay? What are you? Right? What are you through a podcast? What are you through comedy? What are you through all the... My point here being is that if you're giving people advice on how to express themselves, then you have no idea what creativity is. Okay? That's my personal perspective. All right, guys. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. I want to touch on it again, guys. There is a phone number for the podcast. All right? And this phone number goes directly to, it doesn't go directly to a voicemail, but there is a voicemail in here. I will not answer the phone, okay? The phone number will ring, but the real juice, right? The real juice in this is you leaving the voicemail, okay? I will then take said voicemail, whether it be a question or a statement or an idea you have, and I'll play it on the podcast. I'll plug it in, boom. And your voice will appear into the podcast, and we will begin to walk through your ideas. Maybe I'll answer your question if you have one, or maybe I'll bounce off your idea, or maybe I'll just listen because you're woke and I need your perspective. Whatever it may be, guys. Please call. I'm looking for the phone number right now so I don't mess it up, because I think I know it, but I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, guys, don't be afraid to reach out. You know, I've had people say like, yeah, it's going to be difficult. And I understand that. I understand that, especially the way it's set up, especially the way that, you know, we do things around here. It can be like, I don't know if I want to be on. I don't know if I want to hear my voice. Take the leap, friends. Okay? Take the leap. All right? I'm taking leaps socially. Socially. Take your leap, friend. Okay? And that number, guys, is 602-892-4371. Okay, one more time. The IP Monkeys official number is 602-892-4371. You guys will be directed to a voicemail. It's pretty self-explanatory, guys. Say who you are and where you're from, and just whatever. I don't want to tell you guys how to do it. Make it your own. Right? I have no idea how this works. We've never done it before. We've done written messages before, but that's about it. Okay. We also have a Patreon.com, guys. All right. I'm starting to talk about this a little more. But on the Patreon, we have extra content, an extra episode every week behind the scenes, more of like a journal or the journey of the podcast, right? I talk more logistics on there, right? What I'm thinking, what we're writing about, what we're trying to change, what we're trying to do, right? What new strategies am I trying to implement? Okay, what am I trying to do with the podcast this week? What new things am I trying out? That's patreon.com, Interplanetary Monkeys. You search it up and it'll show up. And it's just a way for you guys to support if you want to. You don't have to. But if you guys do choose to support, I give back to that support with extra content or an extra video every week exclusive on there. And, hopefully that grows to the point where, maybe someday we don't even have to use ads, right? As the numbers increase here, we're starting to explore ads and different people that want to support the podcast, different brands, different businesses that want to be featured and kind of support for their attention for your guys' attention. And if the Patreon starts going, we don't need to do that. So that's just an option, guys. And that's enough of the logistic business, blah, 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 blah. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Episode 41, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.